Alrighty, well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Today is May 29th. This is 2020. This is episode number 53. And today we're going to take a look at trait number 8. And we're going to take a look at trait 8 in quality 6. And we're going to be taking a look at leading by example. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So of course, before we get started, let's say hello to our panel. So hello, and welcome. Hi, Lavina. Great to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks, Karen. Great to be here. Hello, everyone.
Wonderful. And Chris.
I'm like getting myself situated over here. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Super excited for today.
Great to have you. And Natalie.
Yay. Yes. Welcome. Excited to be here. It's,
wonderful.
Another week.
Excellent. And I'm Karen Sherwood. And again, welcome to our BG5 Live. So we are going to take a look at leading by example, and we're going to start by exploring, in a sense, our journey through form and where we've been and where we're going. Interesting that last week was assimilation, which is splitting apart. And this week we're taking a look at contribution, and this is about holding things together. So I just thought that was very fascinating. So it's very fascinating also that form begins with the individual. And what we're taking a look at now is, in a sense, moving through the three of the voices of the individual. So assimilation, contribution, and next week we'll take a look at contemplation. So today we're going to take a look at contribution in the 8. So just kind of taking a look at the journey in May 3rd was the driver. This is time to change direction. This is when things have started reopening worldwide after the shutdown. Last week, we took a look at opening the door to change. So a lot more businesses began opening their doors once again. And starting May 15th, we moved into contribution, leading by example. So the first businesses opening are leading by example of how we can do it in a safe way and different things like that. So before we move on, I would love to hear if there's anything from our panel that you've noticed kind of in this process of going through the driver and then assimilation and then contribution, or the time to change direction, the opening the door to change, and then leading by example. If there's anything that you have noticed or anything that you see sort of as we walk through sort of these steps as in our journey through form. So
I have something ridiculous to share.
Yes, please.
Well, you know, these are traits the last 2 weeks about being able to explain what you know or contribute something. And I usually keep myself muted during classes that I'm taking, or like this BG5 Live, because I will make noises of agreement. And in the last week since the 8 came through, I'm just like, like just all this like, yes, contribution, and agreeing and wanting to bring everybody together and hold it together. It's just way more vocal, even though I already have those 2 traits that we're just going through.
I love it. How about for you, Chris?
Well, it's funny you're just saying that, because I don't have any of these traits, but definitely noticing that I'm talking a lot more. So I think that's really interesting. But I want to go back to this whole thing, what you were saying about that these are individual traits, and also sort of opening the doors and leading by example, because we know that all change starts with the individual, and then it ripples outward into the tribe and then into the collective. And so what's interesting that I've seen is just kind of perusing maybe on Facebook or somewhere else, where people will say, for instance, I saw one person say that they went to like that ice cream shop opened, and that people were berating the workers there so much that the worker quit. And I just think it's really interesting. Like everybody seems to have some sort of a a judgment or, and, you know, like, oh my God, we can't do this, right? Because we've been sort of collectively doing it a certain way, or you're in my tribe if you wear a mask, and you're in my tribe if you don't wear a mask to the grocery store or whatever. And it's so interesting as individual business owners are like, hey, I'd like to open up what the response is by the quote unquote tribe and the collective of, oh my God, you shouldn't do that, or, oh, good on you, you should do that. It's just, I think it's very interesting just to kind of stand back and watch that energy, you know, that sometimes there's a splitting apart in order to see what needs to come back together in some ways as well. So that's my observation.
You are muted, Karen. Karen, you are muted.
There we go.
There you
Sorry
go.
about that. They decided to start the lawnmowers right outside my window. So
Yeah, I
they're
unmuted
moving away.
you so you could so we could hear you. What were you saying?
So I was just saying, really great observations, Chris, because, you know, it is this again, and it's the individual, and the individual brings change, right? And which is sometimes different from the collective. And sometimes the collective is very suspicious, and the tribe can be very suspicious of the individual. And one of the things we're going to be talking about today as well is timing, because this is also a strength, part of a strength that and a trait that is that needs to be recognized and invited. And so you also have to, in a sense, wait for the recognition of when the timing is right to make a contribution, when the timing is right to lead by example, when the timing is right to open up your business, and how you go forth and do that as well. Yeah. How about for you, Natalie? Any observations on your side?
Well, I've seen myself in action. I've been doing. So I live in Amsterdam, in the heart of Amsterdam, and it's kind of an apartment, but it's all type of apartments, and we have different levels. I live on the ground level, and then a lot of apartments are renovated, and they have aircos, and now we have pigeons behind the aircos who make their nests. So I went up with a huge, how do you say that? A stairs from a construction guy that I just borrowed from the other side. I went up, and then it's like a block. So here is my house, and then over here, and then we have the garden. So the people on this side also started like, hey, take care, and I don't know. And I was with my backpack, I went up to other balconies, because those people are expats and they are in France, and they just left before this event, before Corona. So, and then and we are like in the down, we have all the shit. So, but you know, and then people are really looking at me for, what are you doing? Like, little girl, don't, you know, and I'm shaking up the stuff, leading by example. I don't know if that was I made a contribution to the community to get rid of the pigeon plague that we have.
So making a contribution, but at the same time, again, it's very individual, right? It's very, in a sense, unique. And some people are like, I don't know.
They were.
Yep, exactly. So,
and you know what else we can notice with all of this?
Yeah, what's that?
So I just said it, even I didn't mean to. Notice how much people are saying, you know, because this is what this is about. And how many times we might say, you know, because that's how we're conversing right now.
Right. Exactly. That's hilarious. Yeah. You know? So continue to watch, you know, as things unfold. We still have another trait in communication in the 20 as well next week, when we take a look at contemplation in the now. So it'll be interesting to see how things continue. So let's focus in on trait 8, which is contribution. Again, we had last week was splitting apart. Now we have holding together, and this is about leading by example. And it's through example, the contribution of the individual is impressed on the collective. So it is not telling, right? You don't tell people, you show people, right? It's leading by example. So it's a basic worth realized in contributing to the individual effort to the group goal. I can't even get this out of my mouth again. So the basic worth realized in contributing individual effort to the group goals. So one of the things that's very interesting about trait 8 is it's part of the pentadynamics. And with the pentadynamics, even though it is individual, it's focused towards the individual efforts towards the group goal. So it's one of the primary strengths within the penta. It's one of the business skills, and it's the business skills of PR. So it really is about, in a sense, promoting the small group or promoting the business. It's drawn towards what is novel. It's drawn towards what is innovative. It's drawn towards what is unique. And again, it's public relations. When it's in a small group, it's the it's the skill of public relations. So it's also about attracting people's attention, right? That's part of what communication and action is all about, is about attracting attention. And this is specifically attracting attention, in a sense, to a small group. So it's attracting people's attention to what you are marketing, you know, like a gallery owner or an art agent. On the other side, we have the one. The one is creative self-expression. So this is promoting that creative self-expression, getting that unique self-expression out there. And once you get people's attention, you can then lead by example. So again, you lead by doing versus just telling, right? It's really about the actions. So, Natalie, Chris, or Lavina, and Lavina and I both have this as both one of our strengths. So we both have the 1-8, but also one of our traits as well. And Lavina, you have it as part of your life work as well.
Yeah, I have it in the 5. So whenever there's this energy that's inside of me that is drawn to attract other people's attention to something. And for the last, what has it been now, 6 years, it's been human design, you know, getting them aware of what it is that I'm doing and where I'm going, you know, just wanting to be able to empower others with this information. And you know what's really interesting about the way this has shown up for me? I had no idea I could be inspirational before I started teaching this work. And over especially the last 3 years, 2-3 years, there's been an energy that's moving through me when I'm speaking or teaching that it lights me up inside. And more people have been telling me, oh, you're so inspiring. And oh, I just want to listen to you talk. And I'm like, that's not me, because my conscious thinking mind doesn't know where it's coming from. But inside of me, it feels really good to let it out and to just be whatever it is that's coming through. And that's the way I experience. I would love to hear how you experience it, Karen, because you have it in a different line quality.
Yes, exactly. So I have it as part of my personal law, and I have it in quality 1. So it's really the foundation. And I also have this strength unconscious as well. And so it's very interesting. Again, it is a strength that needs to be recognized and invited. So even though I'm a builder, this contribution needs to be recognized and invited. And I believe as an instructor, when I'm on a roll, or when I feel like I'm speaking what I'm here to speak, it just kind of like what Lavina said, it's unconscious. It's not something that I'm necessarily aware of, but I can tell the difference when I am speaking from the 1-8, making a contribution, and the difference when I'm trying to force something, or when I'm trying to share something, when I haven't really been invited. I can literally almost feel in my throat a different, like either a different flow or sort of a restriction if I'm not really invited, or I'm trying to share something or say something just to share or say something, and it's not really It's not really there as a contribution. So it works in a very different way. Yeah, and Lavina was saying, yes, it feels amazing. So when, when this is operating correctly, it's really speaking for myself. And it's, again, speaking by being a role model, speaking by leading through example. And I think that's a lot of what both Lavina and I do through the BG5 Business Institute.
I have, my sister is a self-advisor, so this is her only strength. And it's fascinating because you are really both, your expression is really through manifesting through education, through the voice. But she is very much, she's very creative, and also had creative educations, went to the academies, etc. And but she's also kind of shy, or at least really, it's so funny. I've explained this to her, because once she does something and it's really unique, usually it's really like, wow, everybody goes like, wow. But if people go like, wow, then she goes like, oh my gosh, now I have to do something, or now I have to match up again to what I've delivered or what I did. Whereas if she's just in her own, unique bubble, she can be, really an example of for others to be uniquely themselves. But as soon as, that people, actually recognize her, she shuts down. It's kind of difficult. And I've explained to her, what, just say thank you. You don't have to do anything, because the reason you are here, I mean, it's her only strength, is to empower others. You don't have to help them to be creative. You don't have to do it for them or teach them or whatever. Just be you. Just do what you do. You don't even have to bother so much, right? And with that, you help others. You do what you do, right? And she was like, oh, phew, So funny too. Yeah.
And I think that's a really good point, right? It's really, it's really interesting how this particular trait and also this particular strength works. Because in a sense, even part of my creative self-expression is putting together all these PowerPoints as well. I don't put the PowerPoints together. So honestly, I don't put the PowerPoints together for everybody. I put them together for me, to help me understand it, right? So, and in doing it, in a sense for myself, to help understand it, it is a contribution for everyone else, right? But the motivation behind it is something that's different as well. Yeah, Lavina, I see you're typing in. I would love to hear you share that as well.
Oh, I just was commenting how great the advice was from Natalie about, I loved hearing her say the unique bubble and be you and do what you do. And before human design, I didn't do what I was designed to do. And oftentimes, every single time it would be my turn to speak, even in human design classes for the first few years, I would get so choked up, and there would be this tightness in my throat area. And I was very, very nervous before I would speak. I mean, terrified, nervous. And now I love speaking in front of groups. I feel like I have more energy to speak to a group than even sometimes one-on-one sessions, where it feels more like I'm being used correctly if I'm in a group. So that's what I love now and I prefer.
Yeah, really good observation. I love that. I feel the same way.
Now, do you both feel that way because you have the full strength and, and also noting that it's unconscious for both of you, but is it because you have the full strength there? Because we are in the Facebook group, we've got a couple comments of folks. Stephanie is saying, let's see, Debbie says it's her 8 is in her south node. Stephanie says it's in her personal law, and they were listening to what you're saying, and what Stephanie was saying is, she goes, it definitely speaks to me because actions speak louder than words in my mind, which is why I think it's hard for me to find the words to quote unquote market sometimes. And Debbie was also relating to that. And I think they both just have the trait. I don't know that they have the full strength. I don't have their charts right in front of me. Sorry, ladies, I didn't memorize your trait. I know that Stephanie only has the trait. I don't think Debbie has the full strength.
Yeah, and here's one of the interesting things is if you don't have the entire strength, this is about contribution, and oftentimes contribution really is more about the group than for yourself, right? So it's really easy to market someone else. It's not so easy to market yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the, you know, the real, the individual efforts towards the group goals. So especially if you only have the 8 and you don't have the 1, often it's much easier to promote somebody else than it is to promote yourself. And then you may make yourself wrong. Like, why, you know, I can promote anybody, but I can't promote myself. What's wrong?
Right.
There is nothing wrong. It's part of, that's part of how you're here to contribute.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also just coming back to all of the voices in our communication and action, most of them need to be invited. So even if we're an innovator, even if we're a builder type, you know, depending on what we have defined or undefined up there in our communication and action, most of those voices have to be invited, just like the 8. And so, you know, this is an issue for a lot of people, even if whether they have the 8 or not, of being able to promote themselves or even, you know, contribute.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And Rachel was saying leading by example is very strong in myself and contributing. I find out that unconsciously I want to be an example for my mother. I have the 1/8. And again, oftentimes this is a very individual path. This is an individual type of leadership. This is not, you know, if people follow you, great. If they don't follow you, great. You're going to do what you do because that's what you do. And if people want to follow along, great, or not. Right? But it's a very individual type of leadership. And again, it's leading by doing what you do. You could have, for example, a concert pianist who is just brilliant at what they do. And that's also leading by example. They lead by playing this incredible music. It may not be necessarily talking with people or sharing with people or teaching people, but through their very music and the way that they play, it may inspire others to do the same. So just going back to what Natalie was saying, that, you know, even though you're making a contribution, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do anything. All you have to do is be you. And in being you, people will either follow you or not, right? They'll either be inspired by what you do, you know, or not. And there's nothing in a sense that you have to, quote unquote, do. Just be yourself.
And Nina is asking, she has the 1 but not the 8, so is she now influenced by the 8? So so yes, you are. You now have the energy for the full strength and the ability to express your self-expression, you know, to manifest your self-expression to the outside world, so to say.
Right. So you may feel a way that you can, it's like all of a sudden you're able to express your creativity in a way that maybe sometimes you can't do on a consistent basis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And Joey is saying,
yeah.
We're all like, we're going to touch that one. So I'll do it. Okay. So
Okay.
Joey is asking, I'm an emotional manifestor or innovator with an open G center or identity and direction in BG5 terms and no 8 or 1. How can I best contribute? Joey, that is a beautiful question. And it's really sort of beyond today's discussion. We'd have to look at your chart. There's another look at your design, because how you're going to contribute is going to look very different than this. But right now you may find, as I am, because I don't have trait 8 activated, that contribution today, for instance, I contributed to a group by a friend of mine had a funeral to attend or a service to attend. And so I went in and did covered for her in her coaching group. And so it was like, answers were coming out of my mouth like, oh my God, this is amazing. Where is this even going? You know, like it was really, really cool. And it was just in the contribution to the group. I just now got that. And it's funny that that all landed on today. So, you know, we're going to all have everything. We're just going to have access to it in different ways. So Joey, no worries. You have your own unique way of doing it. So
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, cool. Well, let's take a look, sort of a deeper dive and take a look specifically at trait 8 in quality number 6. So when we take a look at quality number 6, this is about communion. Remember, 6 is all about the leader, and this is certainty which grows out of harmony, and it is about timing. So the elevation is the awareness of patterns that ensure correct timing. This is the gift of knowing when to contribute creatively. And again, because it is a trait, as we mentioned before, that needs to be recognized and invited, part of being recognized and invited is also recognizing the right timing, right? Because when you say something and it's not the right time, it may fall on deaf ears. Nobody really gets it. But this is ensuring the right timing, being able to make sure that you're saying the right thing at the right time. And again, you don't have to force it. It's something that you can feel, right? It's the gift of knowing when to contribute creatively. Now, the challenge of it can be doubt, which may engender regret, even in the most ideal circumstances. And this is what I was talking about. The idea or what you have to contribute may be perfect, but the timing may be off. And therefore, you may sort of doubt it, and you may regret that you either said something too soon, too late, or did something too soon or too late, right? So, which engenders regret, even in the most ideal circumstances. Uncertainty in time, in uncertainty in timing, and regret despite the circumstances. So again, this is one of the things with one of the things that Chris mentioned earlier, and this is true for a lot of the voices, if you will, in communication and action. They need to be recognized, invited, and there has to be a correct timing. Timing is everything. And when you have the timing on and you feel that the timing is correct, just like what you were describing, Chris, with your experience that like things were just coming out of your mouth, it's like the timing was correct. The timing was right. And it was knowing when to contribute creatively. Right. The challenge is that there's just doubt, like even if it's the perfect circumstances, not sure if what you're contributing, is of value or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Lavina or Chris, either one. Yeah.
Oh, I was just posting onto the live stream feed onto the Jovian Archive page, and commenting in inspiration to Joey's question about how if this isn't something that you have defined in your body graph, so you look down and you see you don't have that quality of that trait there, then what you're going to be learning about is true wisdom. So on this day, as in today is being a quality 6 day, you're learning true wisdom about what it is to be a leader. So I loved what Chris had to offer and the insight that she shared about how, oh, this is what it's showing up. Where is this coming from? You're being a filter of what's happening in the world around you, and you're being an instrument of that kind of contribution as a leader when this quality is coming in. So imagine that now happening throughout your entire life, not only with the current, cycles, the energies that are coming in, but also with other people, because depending on what your design is, some of us amplify more than others, but we're all learning about what it is to be human. And this is one of those traits. It's about holding together. So that's my inspirational contribution. Thanks.
I love that. And notice that this is about communion, right? This is holding together. This is, certainty which grows, out of harmony, right? So communion, connecting with others, again, even though it is an individual trait, it is something that is there to bring this inspiration to others, right? It doesn't, if it's by itself, it's one thing, but this is really something that's there to bring to others, to connect with others. Again, being a strength that is part of the penta, part of the small group. It's this communion that you can, speak, and you can all do things on the same page. Again, this is the leader too, and it's the leading by example. Yes, Chris.
Sorry, I'm over here just chuckling at myself, and just going, do I want to share this not embarrassing, but just sort of a like interesting thing or not? And about timing, because I think, so this came in on the 15th, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on the 16th, I felt a lot of pressure as soon as it came in to share about this program that I've already been doing, but to share it in a slightly different way. And so I felt all this. I was like, oh, I gotta share. Like it felt hard and fat. Like I need to share this right now. Remember, I do not have this defined. It's trait 8, and it's a contribution to a group. It's a group type of program, and so it went out, and I sent it out. And then that night after it went out, and the next morning, I was like, oh, I think that was too soon. I think I wasn't ready. I think there was something else that needed to be said first. And I've been kicking myself for a couple days going, and just so now I'm looking at this slide, cracking up at myself going, oh, right, doubt, which may engender regret, even the most ideal circumstances. Like just watching that going, oh yeah, see, now I can look back and go, oh, it was such an energetic, this is that activation / conditioning field, that Joey was asking about also. And anyone who has this or doesn't have this, it's like, it's just an opportunity. Now I have some wisdom, as Lavina was beautifully pointing out, to go, oh, hold on a second. Like, where is this pressure suddenly coming from? Where is that? What is this? Is this really the time? So I just think it's funny. So hopefully that helps someone out there who's going, oh my God, why didn't my marketing, why did it feel like it was weird or something like that? So anyway.
Right, exactly. Or again, taking that action, and then now that sort of doubt or the regret of like, why did I do it after feeling all of that pressure?
Yeah. And it's just fun. Like when I look at it that way and I go, there's no real mistakes. It's just all learning. It's like, look at that. Interesting. And then I can chalk that under the wisdom belt, Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because remember, anything that is white, so anything that is not defined in your design, is what you're here to learn about, right? It's what you're here to become wise about. But you also have to be very, very careful, right? Even down to the trait level, because this can be your shadow and distraction, which makes you feel like you have that pressure that you want to speak, right? And you want to speak now, but the timing may not necessarily be correct. Yep. And so are you following your decision-making strategy? It's part of the reason why the only thing that we can truly trust, is our decision-making strategy. When we're attuned to that decision-making strategy, it will let us know not only the right decision, but here's the thing, with our decision-making strategy, it also gives us the right timing.
Yep. And this part is so critical. And so I'm a sacral, sacral being, and that it was like, that gut hit was like, just wait. But my mind, it was like, no, the time. I mean, it's so interesting when you really start to see it at that more subtle level. There's just that awareness deepens and deepens and deepens. It's such a beautiful process. And sometimes it just kicks us in the ass and we're like, oh, oops. Oh yeah. Anyway.
Oh, I love that. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful example. there anything, Natalie, that you would like to add?
No, I love listening to to the wisdom belt.
Perfect, perfect. Well, of course, we also like to take a look at a celebrity that is born on this date as well, to kind of get the sense of sort of the life work aspect of it as well. And so so today we have Cher. Cher's a singer, actress, television personality, right? Very very unique as well. And the life work theme is uncertainty. So you step into the mutative uncertainty of turning energy into form, and you need the right spirit and the right material resources to try. And you know, so it's amazing just kind of watching Cher's career and where she started with the Sonny and Cher show, you know, and where she is now, and just her you know, how she dresses, right? Really being a unique role model, sort of leading by example. There's a lot of people who like to play Cher, right? And dress up like Cher. And so I think she's a beautiful example of this, and she's known as the goddess of pop. And she's been described as embodying the feminine autonomy in a male-dominated industry. So Cher's known for her distinctive singing voice and having worked in numerous areas of entertainment, as well as adapting a variety of styles and appearances throughout her 6-decade-long career. So again, I always find it fascinating, the different celebrities that show up, and kind of taking a look at, you know, how it really maps onto what their life work is all about. Anything? Yes, Lavina.
You know what I love about this as an example, and I don't know if you resonate with this, you, Karen, or anybody who has the 8, but there's this quality of reinventing yourself and always changing up your appearance, you know, if it's something that you wear. It's like your life is your art, but also the expression, the face that you give to the world. And we can see that perfectly with her, because you can see her changing over the years. I mean, all of us do, and she is, of course, somebody who's in the entertainment industry, so that's kind of par for the course. However, what I find is that's a quality or a hallmark of a trait 8, is that there's this attracting attention that is there.
Yes, exactly. You know, and the different ways over time, like you said, Lavina, that she has attracted attention. Yeah, fascinating.
There's one more thing I'd like to share on her trait. I remember recently hearing Ra say that the purpose of uncertainty is for the not self, or in our case, the shadow state, to die. And whenever we find people like this who have this life work, I wonder where she's at on her evolutionary stage of the game, because she's older and she's at that, you know, what we call coming off the roof stage of what a 6 quality does. So I wonder, you know, how much of a leader, how much of a role model she really senses that she is. It seems to me, as long as she's, you know, satisfied within, that she's had the kind of success or maybe satisfaction I would imagine that she does, seeing who she is and where she's at. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. And that role, like, you know, I grew up watching Sonny and Cher, you know, which tells you how old I am. But that just that her embodiment of that, and looking at, you know, you know how on Facebook, or there's these ads, like masterclass ads, and they'll have, you know, RuPaul talks about creativity and creative expression, and, you know, the like different actors and different, you know, people who we look at, you know, that we look at as role models will teach their class. Like I could see her having one in just being original and yourself, and navigating those uncertainties in that role model sort of way. And it wouldn't be anything that she was necessarily teaching. It would just be her showing up as her, and we'd all get it, you know, just by her being there doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Nina was saying, Love reinventing self. Feel I'm in the midst of that myself right now. It seems like a lot of young women are mentioning or quoting Cher lately as a role model. Yeah,
Mhm,
exactly.
mhm.
Love that. Well, very cool. Well, thank you all for being here and exploring this. Again, if you want to follow along with our BG5 Live and what's happening, what the background frequency is of the day, you can always visit our website. You can check out the BG5 Live. It'll tell you both the trait and the quality that we're in for that day, so you can check it out. You can also get our free report, and we also have courses coming up at the end of June. So Chris is going to be teaching a BG5 foundation course. Lavina is going to be teaching the BG5 certification course. Chris, I'd love to hear a little bit, if you'd like to share a little bit about, and invite people to join you for the foundation course.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We're going to start on June 30th. And I'm really excited because actually we're working on workbooks for the foundation courses, and Natalie's using those right now. We're just putting all of those together. And so those workbooks are going to be amazing to that go along with it. But one of the things I love to do in teaching the foundational aspects is, for those of you who know me, I'm a little bit of a storyteller. And so if I look at the science of it, I'm really into bridging the art and the science. You know, there's the science of it, and then there's like, how do I apply that to my life? And so if there's any aspect where I'm talking about the science of something and I look at it, I go, well, what does that really mean? How do I apply that to my life? That's how I share my wisdom. Like, that's how I love to teach, just to make sure it gets in. So you're going to get the art and science of human design when you're coming in class with me. So I hope you join in that foundation class. I'd love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you want to just check it out, get a feel for it, you can also register for the first class free as well. So you can attend the first class, kind of get a feel for Chris's teaching style, what the material is, and everything like that. And so I really invite you to check it out and check out the first class free. And
Yeah.
Lavina, do you want to also say a little bit about your certification course as well?
Oh my goodness. Well, first I just want to share that what I've noticed about Chris in observing her in her process of helping people is that she brings this lighthearted energy and at the same time this very deep, profound wisdom about how to apply this information. So if you're feeling kind of stuck and you're wanting to evolve and you're wanting to get empowered and you're wanting to move, maybe push back past that limitation that you're maybe coming up against in if you're doing the human design experiment or in your career or your business, I highly recommend that you check out that foundation course. And beyond that, if you're looking to actually use this system, the human design system applied to career and business, we do have the BG5 certification courses, and myself, Karen, Natalie has one coming up in September. But I get to do my very first one, and I'm really stoked, really excited, really honored and privileged to be able to go on and embark on this journey with a group of students. So we also have that first class free. If you've already done Living Your Design, Rave ABCs, Rave Cartography, or the foundation courses, you're welcome to come and join us and see what that feels like for you.
Yeah, beautiful. And both of them are just such amazing instructors. So I really hope, especially like Lavina was saying, if you're on this journey, if you want to find out more, if you want to get yourself grounded in this, you can only learn so much with self-study. I know for myself, I studied a lot of human design before I entered into studying BG5. And there's the nuances and there's the way of being able to learn it by going through one of the courses and learning directly from an instructor that you just can't get if you are studying it just on your own. So really invite you to check out both of those courses. And if nothing else, do the first class free so you can really get a flavor for what they're all about. Awesome. All right. So once again, thank you, each and every one of you that is here live in our Zoom room, as well as watching us on Facebook or watching via the recording via YouTube. So it's such a pleasure having you here. And what I'd like to do to wrap everything up is talk and just get from each of our panelists, what are some things just to be aware of and pay attention to. We are actually shifting into the next trait here shortly because we're in the 6th quality now. But especially as we continue to take a look at this trait 8, what would you recommend? Yes, Chris.
I'd love to start. So first of all, I want to say thank you so much, Lavina, for sharing what you did about me. That meant a lot, and it was beautiful, and it was so beautiful. I want a 1/8. Can you just follow me everywhere and just do that all the time? Like, that was a perfect example of the 1/8. And it was just brilliant. And so thank you. I just received that. It's so much fun. Thank you. So everybody find yourself an 8 and have a walk around with you everywhere and do your marketing for you. No, seriously though, just watch again, just look over this last few days if you don't have the trait defined, and look at, where have you felt the pressure to maybe contribute to the group before you were ready, or just noticed where you seem to maybe have a little bit more of that ability to promote yourself where normally you don't, and just notice it. Nothing to do or change really, but just to watch. So thanks again.
Love it, Chris. Thank you so much. How about for you, Natalie?
Yes, I want an 8 too. I'm going to teach in Dutch in September.
Oh, yay. Wow.
Yeah. No, anyway, so yeah, I actually stick with my my little lovely sister. Well, she is of course grown up, but it feels like my little sister still. And just stay in your unique bubble, and just be you, and with that you empower others. And whether or not you have this trait, we have this energy now, but in a sense, our whole design is about uniquely being you and following your own decision-making strategy. And yeah, so authenticity, and you don't have to do anything, right? You don't have to you just be.
Exactly. Beautiful. Thank you, Natalie. And Lavina.
I completely agree with Natalie. I totally want to impart to you that it is about the being. And what Chris said, remember that you don't have to do anything other than you, be you. So when we go through these traits, oftentimes it can be really easy to go, oh man, I wish I had that, and there's all this kind of, I call it design envy, especially when you first start learning about design. You get all interested in stuff that you don't have, which already happens as a par for the course. So remember to go back to, who are you for yourself if you're a builder? Who are you for the other if you're an advisor? What is your impact if you're an innovator? And how can you greater contribute to the sum totality by reflecting and amplifying what is around you in the world as an evaluator? It really is that we need every single one of us to come together and to live from that higher expression of who you are and how you're best here to serve. And I can't tell you how much appreciation I have for this team you see right here in front of me, because if we didn't have all of us doing our own unique aspects and honoring the presence and the gifts that each of us do, we would not have the success that we are living right now. So I hope it's an inspiration to all of you to look into your own designs and to live you and be you. And I just feel so grateful to be a part of this. Thank you.
Love it, Lavina. Thank you so much. It really sums it up. It really speaks to the power that, again, we all have. Lavina says, I'm going to cry now. It all speaks to the power that we all have to uniquely contribute in our own way, whether you have trait 8 or not. We are here to be uniquely ourselves. And ultimately, all we need to do is to be ourselves. All you need to do is be you. There isn't a lot of doing when we're correct. And yes, there may be doing that comes out of being correct, but it's not doing in trying to make things happen or to force things to happen. It's being you first, and then the doing just comes naturally. And it all happens in correct timing. And one way or another, as unique individuals, we're all here also to lead by example.
Oh,
So,
read Lavina's.
Doing without doing, and doing gets done. I love that. So this is a quote from Ra. Yeah, do without doing, and doing gets done. I think that's a great way and a great thing to wrap up today's BG5 Live. So thank you, each and every one of you. And follow your decision-making strategy, and be yourself, and do without doing, and doing gets done. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.